This is one of the most powerful scenes in this movie. It's so simple and quiet, and it's like telling you something but whispering it to you so that you have to listen very closely in order to understand it. And you also have to pay attention to this entire movie because this moment only matters in the context of the entire film. It only matters because of what's built up to this moment. So this is Hazel and this is her dad, and for the entire movie up to this point, Hazel has been trying to get her dad to love her more expressively, like to say I love you or I'm proud of you, something, anything, but she doesn't ever get anything. All she ever gets is this. And it frustrates her. She wants more, and she's fighting it. She's trying to get more, but she doesn't ever get it, and it's frustrating her, and this frustration has come between the relationship so that they're becoming distanced because the way he loves and the way she wants to be loved are different. But now, the dad has cancer, so Hazel comes to the hospital where the dad is and sits next to him, and there's silence for a minute. So what does she do? She does the only thing that feels right for this moment. She takes her hand and places it on his. For the first time, she's meeting her dad where he's at. Instead of trying to change him, she's loving him his way. It's such a powerful scene. How does a filmmaker write something so precise, so deep, so emotionally intricate?
Story is first. Story comes before style and execution and design, everything. Story informs every single aspect of filmmaking after that.
This is Julian Curi, the creator of this movie, GRUFF. He wrote it, animated it, filmed it, edited it, all of it. And I had a chance to talk with him about his storytelling approach and the way that he thinks about telling stories.
When I start on making a short film that I know might take 3 years, that story had better be as refined, and I won't say the word perfect because there's not really any such thing when it comes to art and creativity, but when it's as polished as it can be. I like the story I like the product to get better at every single stage. So at the very beginning stage, when the project is just a baby and I have the script and I send that to someone to give feedback, I want that experience of them reading it to already be incredible. I want them to already be crying. I want them to already be giving those reactions of like, oh, I know what this looks like. I know what this feels like. It's not just then this, then a close-up of this. It's very emotionless. I like writing my screenplays with accurate emotional prose so that even at that initial stage when people are just reading words on a page, at that stage, the story's already moving them. Then when we get into storyboarding phase, if those images can then evoke even more emotion or even more entertainment value, then that's incredible. Then I build the figures and it's like, oh my gosh, now they're coming to life even more. So every stage is really just a kind of like a blooming of the project. Whereas if you don't have a good story to start with and you think that the next stage is going to improve the last stage, when you're 8 to 10 steps in, you have a hot air balloon that's about to deflate. And you see that with a lot of huge major studio movies that they start making the movie without the scripts even being done. And you can feel it. You can feel that emptiness. You can feel like the deadness in the actor's eyes of like, I don't really know where this character is going because I'm just acting it on a whim right now. So story is everything. You have to have that locked down, and it has to be as tight and lean as possible so that when you add visuals to it, when you add style to it, when you add music to it, it's just enhancing the meal, not creating it, right? Like the story is the meal, everything else is the plating and the dressing and the appetizers around it, and that's all very important because that can ruin your meal if you don't do it right. but the meal is the story. You have to get that right. You have to cook that perfectly.
In the movie, there's a side story, a subplot that when I first saw this movie, I couldn't quite figure out what this was doing here. I felt like it was a bit out of place, but as I watched this film over and over throughout the years, I've come to realize this is actually a beautiful example of how intentional the storytelling in this story is. In the movie, there's a Western show that the dad watches all the time, and in the show, a young girl is captured by a bandit, and all of the townspeople look to the sheriff of the town to save the little girl. Now, everything in this seemingly random piece of the story actually fits in so beautifully with the main narrative. The little girl represents Hazel, and the sheriff represents Hazel's dad. And the bandit represents Hazel's resentment towards her dad for loving her in a way that's different than the way that she wants to be loved. Everything in this side story represents something in the main story. And this kind of precision doesn't just come out of nowhere. It comes from somewhere really personal, because for Julian, making this film was a way for him to process his emotions about his own relationship with his dad. But he didn't let his emotions control his storytelling. Instead, he was able to control the emotions within his story. How?
Something I wish I had known sooner was that when you're writing from a point of like autobiographical inspiration, it really helps to have some distance from it. The way that I deal with that is only visiting stories that I feel like I've had some emotional closure with. And that's, I can't put a number on that, but I think usually it takes a few years to really be able to look backwards on that event and realize how you came out of it, because that's the story. Yes, conflict is story, but you also need a satisfying resolution. So you need to be able to look back in your life and see how you resolved that issue, or how you came out of it, how the closure that you got from it, or maybe the closure that you never got from it. And that's the story. It's like, wow, this wound just got left unhealed over this time. But you have to have that distance to understand your perspective. And that's when it really clicked for me with GRUFF. It had been a couple years since my dad had passed away, and it really took that long for me to kind of understand my relationship with him. I had a lot of feelings at his funeral. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of feelings right when he passed away. But it took a couple of years to kind of big picture my relationship with him and think about like, well, what was left unsaid? Like, what did I wish I had said, or what did I wish I had done if I had had more time with him? And so the story that I wrote was kind of like a wish fulfillment of something from the past, right? But I needed that time apart, rather than if I had written it right after he had passed away, maybe there'd be a little bit more anger and a little bit less kindness to the story, kindness to him, and understanding where he was coming from. GRUFF is definitely about my dad, but then just because I had that distance, I was able to pull inspiration from my father-in-law too, and I made the main character female. Like I did these changes to the autobiographical story that are not my story, but it served the theme better. It served the story better to make those changes. And I think I would have been too precious with the story if I had told it right after that event had happened. So that's what I would recommend. Pull inspiration from what's behind you, and what you've kind of had a resolution for, and that'll make you a much more intelligent and efficient storyteller.
What Julian was able to do with GRUFF is so incredible. The way he was able to remove himself from the story in a way that let him see the experience from a wider perspective, but not in a way that completely removed him from his past. It's beautiful, it's intricate, it's nuanced, it's what makes storytelling so great. And if you want to see the entire short film, it's right here. I highly recommend it. It is phenomenal.
Sorry, that's my cat. one of them.